Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. Baseball's All-Star Game is tonight, Tony. Have you ever made any All-Star teams?
I'm Tony Kornheiser. Street and Smith's 10 Sexiest Sports Writers, 1978. I got a copy of it behind me on the bookcase.
Wow.
Yeah.
You beat out Bob Ryan? Is that the case, huh?
I think I beat out Ryan. Pretty sure I beat out Lupica. Pretty sure.
I'm not getting into that
You
one.
could look it up.
I'm not going anywhere
Welcome to
near that.
PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, Nick Saban's football future, criticism of Jalen Hurts, and Mark DeRosa joins us to talk baseball for 5 good minutes. But we begin today with big dumper Cal Raleigh winning the home run derby last night, becoming the first catcher to ever do so. Raleigh is now the 4th player to win the home run derby while leading the majors in home runs to that point, joining Ken Griffey Jr. and Mark McGwire, who did it in the 90s, and Aaron Judge, who did it in 2017. Wilbon, how high in the star rankings can you see Raleigh ascending?
Well, Tony, if you're going to ascend high in star rankings, it means to me more than one season. Look, he's the odds-on favorite to be the MVP. And I know Aaron Judge is like, let's not count out Aaron Judge with the season he's having.
Right.
But it means you got, even as a catcher, and we're paying special attention because, my goodness, this guy's having a hell of a year for anybody and double for a catcher. But Mike Piazza's a guy who had 5, 6 or more great seasons. I'm not even about to start mentioning the likes of Johnny Bench, and if we go back in time, Berra and Campanella. I'm just not prepared to do that. But in today's star-making turn, where the marketing people will make a star out of anybody who's had 3 great weeks, then Dumper is already a star by today's standards. But if he's going to be the MVP and then can sustain this, you know, and like, I don't care, as I said 2 days in a row, I don't care about, you know, home run derby. Tony, I just want all the All-Star games to get off the stage so that we can resume with the parts of the season that matter. And now we are in the second half of the season in both leagues. There's some intriguing races going on. You've got Raleigh having this terrific season. But star to me means more than one season. To me, old-fashioned as I am.
Yeah. So I would just start by saying what a warm moment it must have been last night when Cal Raleigh is up there swinging and his dad is throwing the pitches and his younger brother is catching behind him. I remember when Bryce Harper's dad was throwing the pitches to Bryce Harper when he was on the Nationals and he won the home run derby. And what a fortunate thing for Raleigh yesterday that the longest home run he hit in the first contest was that got him into the second contest, was 1 inch longer than the Oakland player, right? Let me get Oakland's player's name, Brent Rooker. 1 inch longer. Okay, how high can he go? Catcher is a problem. It's not a glamour position, though 2 guys you mentioned, Johnny Bench and Mike Piazza, were fairly glamorous. He's the best defensive catcher in all of baseball, and I think that matters. He's got a great nickname. Big Dumper is a great nickname. He's a switch hitter. Legendary players have been switch hitters. And Mike, by August 1st, it's very possible he will have, certainly not August 1st, September 1st, he'll have more home runs than any catcher ever had. What is the negative here? One of the negatives is he plays in Seattle, which is off the grid, though that never hurt Ken Griffey Jr. The big negative to me is that he's in the era of Ohtani and Judge, who are tremendously glamorous players in large cities who look like all-timers. So what would happen with Raleigh, even if he has a great year, is somebody's going to say, do it again. Do it again. Prove it's not a fluke. Because these other guys have done it again. And these other guys
Judge
have been in the World Series, and that
done
matters.
It again. That's just
yes,
it.
They've
You've got
done
to do
it
it
again.
more than once, and we'll see if he's capable. That's worth watching. I don't care about home run derby. Dumper, can he sustain this? That's what's worth watching to me.
In a story we broke in our first segment, baseball's All-Star Game is tonight, which makes it a perfect time to bring in the co-host of MLB Network's MLB Central, Mark DeRosa. Wilbon is a devotee of Mark's, which you'll find out later. Let's start with this. Some Phillies are having a problem with the Miz making the All-Star team as a replacement. Mark, how do you feel about that?
You know, I never looked at it, guys, like an entertainment product when I played. But now being on this side of it, I do see it as an entertainment product. This guy has lit it up. I know it's only 5 starts. I also know that a lot of guys have declined going. And usually the rule is if you're going to be a replacement, you have to be available to pitch in the game. I can understand Christopher Sanchez having he should have been an all-star from jump, but he just pitched recently. He wasn't going to be available. Probably same with Ranger Suarez. They start going down the line, and eventually they get to a guy who's throwing a .01 who has a chance to come in, maybe in the 5th, 6th, or 7th inning and light it up. I can understand the guys having a problem with it, but as an entertainment product, I can't wait to see him tonight.
God, I have to hate him as my birthright as a Cub fan, Mark, to hate the Miz, even though I'm fascinated by him, of course. Let's stay with starting pitching, because we got this great matchup for as long as it lasts between Skubal and Skeens. If you were the czar of baseball, what would you do to sort of make sure starting pitching and starting pitching matchups were a bigger part of the game?
Yeah, you know what? This is a bigger question. This is a full show because this is leaking down all the way into the youth. I just think there's got to be something in place. I don't know if it's a rule. The way I watch the game is I pick out who the best starting pitching matchup is that night, and that's where I'm fixated at. I don't get overrun with guys who are going to go 4 or 5 innings, and then they're just going to start rolling the bullpen in there. So for me, it's what the industry is valuing right now. Missing bats is kind of leaking down into the minor leagues, how they're being developed, and it's leaking into college and all the way into youth baseball. It's what these kids are chasing. I'm immersed. I have a 15-year-old son. They're chasing lighting up the radar gun. They're chasing exit velo, even if it's not a hit. So I just think organizations have to start valuing efficiency, certainly stuff, but the ability to pitch and be willing to let these guys go through the lineup, not only twice, but some of them maybe a third time, and not be so fixated on a pitch count.
There's something else that people might get fixated on. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. We want to find out how you feel about players being able to challenge balls and strikes tonight.
Yeah.
Where are you on technology improving the game?
I love it. I'm going to be honest with you. I just was the bench coach for Chipper Jones in the Futures game, and we got to use it, and I watched it work to our advantage twice. So, yeah, I'm good with it. I think you're going to see this next year. I think this is going to be brought into the game next year. I think they're trying to figure out how many challenges to give people. You don't want everyone saving it to the 9th inning and then it slows down the game. The pitch clock has made whether you agree with it or not, it has made it a better product, in my opinion, getting the ball moving a little bit more. So, yeah, I think you're going to see it tonight. Guys are going to be scared to use it. Tarek Skubal actually said he's not going to use it. He'll leave it to his catcher if he wants to use it.
We got another question for you. This is a wild question. I was unaware of this. Pete Alonso said today that he would like to see one-on-one fights get legalized in baseball the way they are in hockey. This is so off the board for me. Where do you come down on Alonso's proposal?
You know what's crazy? I kind of understand where he's coming from because the whole bench clearer and nobody throws a punch. And then here comes the bullpen and we got a 15-minute delay and it's a lot of pushing and shoving. Listen, I've been a part of a couple brawls in my life. You make a quick decision. You're either in the mix at the bottom of the pile, willing to get after it, or you're playing peacekeeper. So, I mean, I kind of get where he's coming from. Usually it's a one-on-one matchup. If those guys want to go at it, I kind of understand where Pete's coming from.
Yeah, Alonso's coming from the position of being about 6'3",
the biggest,
and
strongest guy on the field. Yeah,
that's where he's coming from.
Enforce.
You're going to pick your spots. You're going to pick your spots, who you're going to drill and who you're not going to drill.
Absolutely. Mark, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks a lot,
thank
Mark.
you.
Appreciate it, man.
Hey, big honor. Thank you, guys.
Happy anniversary, Rafael Palmeiro. On this day 20 years ago, while playing for the Orioles, Palmeiro doubled for the 3,000th hit of his career, joining only Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, and Eddie Murray as players then with at least 500 home runs and 3,000 hits. Palmeiro's shining moment took a dark turn within weeks when he was suspended for a positive steroids test. Palmeiro played only 7 more games, finishing his career with the most games played by someone who never played in the World Series, 2,831. Palmeiro is not in the Hall of Fame, clearly because of steroids, and is likely most remembered for wagging his finger at a congressional inquiry into steroids in baseball.
Tony, doesn't it seem Palmeiro, as great as he was, played most of his career in the shadows? Like, you just don't, I don't have moments I go to automatically for somebody as great as Palmeiro, as talented as he was.
No, you're right, but those numbers are amazing numbers.
Unbelievable.
Happy.